How's it going, everybody? It's Frisbee Moonsong again, also known as Robert, and I am the Dungeon Master for the World of Sanctum. And today we are going to be giving you guys a little bit of a backstory of all the characters that you are going to be meeting, and a little bit of what has happened so far to them, and a tiny touch on their backstories as well, so you guys can keep up with the stories. Obviously, I'm not going to spoil everything because there's many shocks and surprises that I want you guys to still have throughout the session, so you won't be told everything about the characters, but you'll have a little bit of a snippet about them. So first of all, I'm going to go with the latest addition to our campaign, which is Rolo. Rolo is a human ranger, and he has recently joined the party. He entered the wilderness. He was left by his parents, and he entered the forest and has been living there most of his life. He has never known the company of people, so he struggles, and all he struggles with like interactions like that, and he's still learning to get the hang of it, but all he knows is that he tries to make friends as best as possible. He was discovered by Drax, who is a drow who lives in the southern part of the world, and he was taken to the drow fortress in the Underdark in the southern part of the world that I've created, and he stays there with Daniara, who is currently the leader of the drow fortress, and he stays there for 3 months, and he makes good friends with the party, and that is his exciting introduction into this campaign. Secondly, we will go to our second character, our second most recent character, which would probably be Daniara. So she was the one who entered recently as well. Well, she was one of the first few, but she was also one of the recent ones. Oh wait, before her actually was Devon. Devon, right? He's the paladin that has just entered the campaign. He grew up in a little town, in like a farmer's kind of area. He stayed on like farmland, and while he was growing up, he stayed with his parents, who were mercilessly slaughtered by demons and hellhounds. And in his story, he ends up going to live with some of the Templars who inducted him in. Now, as they've inducted him into the story, they've helped him grow, and he's become eventually a little bit of a leader in the place, and he's still trying to deal with his parents' death. Some of it, him blaming himself for his parents' death, and still trying to understand what was the cause of his parents' death. So that is a little bit of information to him. He is a human, as I forgot to mention in the beginning. He's a human paladin, and yes, he joins the party a bit later on, which you'll hear about later on in the stories. Following that would be Daniara, because she was the latest one, well, the third latest one, considering those were the last two in the party. She is a drow sorceress, and she hails from the northern drow side, in the northern part of the map, in the mountains, and she came to live in the forest to escape all of that after some time. Her father is known as Emerald, who is a very famous elf, drow in the World of Sanctum, and she stays there in the forest trying to defend for herself, and she eventually meets the party at the beginning, so you'll hear a lot about her story as you go on. Before her, then we also had Tamiya, who is a tabaxi. Yes, I know, quite exotic, all of these different characters, but he is a rogue tabaxi, and he eventually becomes an arcane trickster, and he is introduced into the party when he is drunk off his knockers in the tavern. He is hailing from the desert sands, which is in the northern part of the countryside, or the world, should I say, and he comes down to the south to try escape from where he is from, because number one, he's been exiled, and number two, he is in a little bit of trouble. But that's a little bit of story for later on. I don't want to spoil too much of that, but all we know for now is that he is feeling a little bit homesick, and he struggles to deal with acceptance from people, and he struggles to find his place amongst people because he always ends up getting turfed out in the end. So yeah, he's a tabaxi. You'll be able to see a couple of hints to what these characters look like, especially in the campaign as you find out about their story. Coming up next, we have, did I mention Kurok? He is the Goliath. He is very much stern in what he says, and he is very blunt. and very literal. So everything he says, it's exactly as you say it. Like, you'll find out throughout the campaign as you go along, as you find out about his story. He's very straightforward with what he says, and a couple of things might go over his head, like sarcasm and stuff like that, which is quite motivating for some people who don't understand that, and I feel it's a good character that some people can also relate to. He's a Goliath barbarian hailing from the northern mountainside where all the Goliaths stay, and he came to the southern side of the world, where he is trying to appease his ancestors, and he's trying to find a challenge for himself and something stronger than he is. And coming down to the final character, but not least, we have Darius, the royalty-born blue dragonborn who is a samurai fighter. And he ended up coming from the great city of Gold's-Keep, who is ruled by his mother Vedita and his father Malexios, and they are the king and queen of Gold's-Keep. And he has moved down to this, he traveled down with a couple of prisoners to this newly found city of Silver's Keep. First of all, he ran away, he tried to escape the royal life, and he trained as a samurai with a private trainer. And then he escaped down to Silver's Keep, which is a new town that is just being sprouted up in Sanctum, and it's very new little small village that people are starting to move into. A little bit of shops have opened up, a couple of cities. It's based around a crypt which was there a long time ago, which you'll hear a little bit more about in the story, and this is where our characters meet, brought together by the mark of destiny. Hooray!